that. So we're really excited to have 4 excellent marketing experts in different fields on this call today. So we're going to start with just quick introductions of each of them in a small presentation about their medium and what they do, and then we'll go into a panel discussion. If you have any questions, feel free to stick them into the chat, or we'll do a Q&A at the end as well. But we really want this to be sort of interactive and want to make sure that you guys get the most out of it. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce our panelists, and then they will do a quick presentation, like I said, and then we'll get right into it. So we have first up is Allison Day, who is the owner and founder of Good Things Done Right. Allison, take it away.
Yeah, hi. My name is Allison Day. As Jessica said, I've owned Good Things Done Right, a social media marketing agency in Napa Valley for the last, it's at this point, 7 years. I manage Yountville Social since 2017. I've worked really closely with Whitney and then lastly Jessica when she came on board. And yeah, we're a full service social media marketing company that we have added on to our offerings as the years have gone on, as social needs have changed. So we're now doing full service content development as well, and really building out our image development portion of our business. So running photo shoots with an idea and bend of best practices for social media. So love what I do. It's constantly changing. Once you think you got it, it's something else coming up. But I'm really proud to say that we have a 80% retention rate of clients for 2 years or longer. We're at this point at about 25 clients throughout the Bay Area, Napa Valley being our niche, but we have expanded through the Bay Area, California, and some national clients as well. I'm very happy to be here.
Great. And then we have Andreas with WSI, who is the do-it-all guy there. Andreas, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, good morning, everyone. Very happy to be part of this, and thanks for the invitation. We are part of the WSI Next Gen Marketing company that's here in Napa. We started in 2014. So we're getting close to our 10 years, and we offer, full service digital marketing, lots of websites that we develop, website services, search engine optimization. We do advertising, email marketing. We really want to provide a complete marketing approach for our clients. And we are very happy that we had the pleasure to develop the websites for the Yountville Chamber and for yountville.com, do SEO, some selective advertising, and it has been a great partnership. Thank you, Whitney and Jessica. It's always a pleasure to be part of this.
Thank you for being here today. And then we have Laura Larson, who's the editor of Napa Valley Life magazine.
Thank you, Jessica, and thanks for inviting me to join today. It's good to see everybody. So I've been asked to hop on the panel today wearing my Napa Valley Life magazine editor hat. My background is I'm actually I have my own consulting business called Virtual Vines, and currently Napa Valley Life is my full-time client. I specialize in marketing strategy, and I guess I've been with Napa Valley Life now in either a part-time or almost full client capacity for the past couple of years. I'm also a small vintner in Napa Valley, so a lot of these marketing techniques are near and dear to my heart. I'm trying to market a small business in Napa Valley. So I look forward to chatting today. The gals have asked me to hone in on print, so I'll be talking about that in my section.
Yes, perfect. And then Will with Wind Down Media.
Yes, hi, good morning, everyone. I am Will Marcencia, 50% of Wind Down Media, ownership-wise. Technically, maybe like 49 and my wife's 51, that's the truth, but I was being modest. So we started Wind Down Media in 2017 and acquired the Napa Valley radio stations in later that year. I have about 12 years of media experience, from TV ad sales to content distribution, like cutting the deals. Netflix, Hulu were some of my top clients when I was over at Univision in getting Spanish language content for those streaming services. So yeah, I kind of rode the wave at the very beginning at 2011 when people were saying, you know, like there's this new concept called streaming and we don't know if it's going to take off or not, but you know, we need to have our content available on all platforms for people. So kind of head scratching now that, you know, it's only been about 11 years since it started and I don't even remember when I watched my last DVD or Blu-ray. So happy to be here and talk to you more about the audio space specifically today.
Thank you, Will. I'm in the middle of a big DVD organization project and I'm feeling that. I didn't even know I owned all of these. So. Great. Thank you guys so much for being here. So first, what we're going to do is have each panelist share a little bit about their medium. And so Allison, I'll go ahead and have you start and you should be able to share your screen.
Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. Now I need to figure out how to move it.
That is really cute, Allison.
Thanks. Looks just like me, right? Yeah, so this will be a quick rundown. And to preface, when I was touching base with Jessica before the presentation, it was really, this is a super high level point of view from Facebook, not Facebook, social media. And as you can, I'm sure you know, you can dive really deep into all these. So this is a high level point of view about the benefits of social, with obviously going deeper when we're on the panel. Again, quickly about Good Things Done Right. We help big and small B2B and B2C brands, for-profit, nonprofit, get more from their social media and content marketing efforts. Really quick, why is social important in 2022? So it's really about figuring out where you want to hone in your voice and your message, but social has such a driver in this day and age to increase your brand awareness, get it out there. Again, obviously with the goal of conversions and leads, but wanted to pull out the kind of secondary, but equally as important points of view. So increasing your brand awareness, humanizing your brand, you're able to talk to your customers day to day, depending on how much content you're putting out, establishing your brand as a thought leader, which is one of my favorite points of view for social media. So depending on your content, you're able to get out in front of many of your competitors as owning the space in the industry that you're in, again, with multiple touch points based on, again, your output of content, and staying top of mind. So social allows you to, again, surface your content every day and touch on different points depending on what's going on in the world, what's going on in your industry, what's going on in your location, that you keep in the minds of people, because that news feed is never ending. So the benefits of social media for growth, big fan, and obviously Andreas will talk about this in the next section, but big fan of really tight and great website design, because the idea of social is to ultimately drive traffic to your website. Generate leads, equally as important, but I actually think it's secondarily to what the power of social can do from a long-term community building. Boosting sales, so it can really prime the pump from the top of the sales funnel to get people ready to take an action onto your well-designed website. And then I really like the new, again, we could go so far into the weeds about this, but one of the benefits of social, especially if you have a really good strategy behind you, is partnering with influencers and getting into new audiences in a relatively easy and fluid space. The benefits of social for communication. So this is something that we focus a lot on with our clients, the reputation management aspect. So I run the gamut with clients, whether we're doing community management on platform, but we also manage other clients' Yelp pages and such, but it's creating a full digital space on, again, your reputation, monitoring the conversations and being right there in real time to see what people's feedback is, oftentimes unsolicited, but to manage that. Crisis communication, that's been a really big aspect, unfortunately, in the last couple of years in the Valley and globally, but we've really utilized social media effectively. Yountville was one of the clients that I worked with, that we really managed crisis communication from our social, kept Napa Valley in the top of people's mind in a positive way so that they would come back and visit. And social allowed, again, that touch point and staying top of mind. Customer and audience engagement. Again, the theme here is constant consistency. You're showing up, you're in front of people's faces and able to react in real time. And customer service and support. So we spend a lot of time in direct messages and the back end that you don't necessarily see on the main feed, answering customers' questions, getting them to the right place. And it's another touch point that is outside of even those departments, such as reservations and such. Benefits of social for gaining insights. Social, I think, is one of my favorite spaces to play in and understanding more about your customers, gauging sentiment about your brand. So we manage focus groups and such to see where people, what they care about, what they do. We did some really great Instagram stories on Yountville and got some really great information about what people care about. Again, that took us 15 minutes and we had a really wealth of information. And then keeping the eye on the competition. Again, in that real-time aspect, you can go out and see what other people are talking about and how you can apply that to your brand. Benefits of social media advertising. Again, this is something I've done a whole workshop on, but there's nowhere else. Yes, you can do that from a search engine marketing opportunity, but targeted advertising and retargeting is so deep and relatively quick, and you can get some really big results from that. And then it proves ROI over and over again through so many reporting and analytics details. You can get very honed in and specific on your spend on social media and the benefits of that. So that was my quick elevator pitch for social media. I don't know at this point how many people need to be sold on it. But there's a lot to be talked about with that. So that was, again, my high level.
Perfect, Allison. Thank you so much. Andreas, I'm going to have you go ahead and go next and talk about email marketing and digital marketing.
Yes, let me share my screen.
Yep.
Let me see. And please let me know when you see it.
We see it.
Okay, perfect. So I'm really excited to be part of this panel because what is so important is we are all part of this, everyone. Mm-hmm. You know, be it offline marketing, online marketing, you know, it's all about the journey of someone who had an idea. And maybe we play an example. I live in New York and I have an idea to spend my honeymoon in Napa Valley. And there's a journey from the very first idea until there is a wine tasting in Napa Valley. And this is what, you know, this is a simple sales funnel, but, you know, you never know where this idea was born. Maybe it was something on TV. Maybe it was something in the newspapers. Maybe it was an ad that was shown up on your phone. But what is very important is to get, and this is what's called the top of funnel, to get someone, a stranger, to become a visitor on a website, to really explore and get deeper into the idea. And in this stage, it's really about researching and learning about a specific problem idea and then get them engaged. The more they get engaged, the more specific they're going to research in the middle of the funnel. And this is actually a very important element, again, where we all play a major role. Social media is a huge trust builder, where people want to learn about a brand. Let's say I'm looking for hotels. I want to stay in Napa Valley. I'm looking at their reviews. I'm looking at social media. I'm looking what people are writing about it. What is the tone of the company? So it's a very important area, and people want to learn more. They're going to go deeper. Where is it located? You know, visit Napa Valley, Yountville.com, play a major role in these first two stages because you really want to learn about this. And then you bring them into the leads. Why am I talking about this? Before COVID, about 80% of the customer journey was done online. I don't have new data driven after COVID, but I assume that this percentage number increased. So it's about 80% that people are online, study a brand, study a destination before they pick up the phone or before they book. And that's what is the funnel. And on the tip of the funnel, you make an educated decision. You book your wine tour. you book your hotel room, you make wine reservations, but it's true for every business. I have asked to specifically talk about advertising and email marketing, and I have put the advertising first. So if I stay in the same kind of sales funnel, where are advertising tactics really working? So in top of the funnel, where you have brand awareness and discovery campaigns, that's, for example, the social media, but also display ads. Google has a very powerful display ad network, and I specifically talk about Google's advertising, which is display, remarketing, and search advertising, where these kind of tactics really play an important role. And, you know, display ads, you always try to be in front of the right audience. You know, for example, if you want to find the right people in New York, you look at the heavy travelers, the high spenders, people that have interest in wine, to show the display ad. And then they're going to start to engage. Maybe the idea to visit Napa was born at that very moment. And then they're going to start searching wine tasting in Napa, good hotels to stay, you know, best wine tour. Staying with this example, this is where paid search advertising, PPC, is a very important area. General keyword phrases where people are in the learning phase. As they got deeper into learning, and as, let's say, websites got visited, you now can create retargeting audiences where you can retarget people that have already been on your website. This is where, for example, remarketing, social media is a big opportunity with advertising, display advertising, but more and more search advertising becomes a very important area, and you're getting more into what's called the long tail keyword phrases, where people are looking for very specific you know, phrases, very specific things. And then at the end, when they want to book something, now you have people going into, let's say, use a wine purchase example. I go into the store, I select wine, I might not finish, I might put it in the cart, but I didn't finish. So this is an ideal opportunity for browse and cart abandonment ads, where you can target these people. I'm sure you have been on Amazon, and not a big surprise these days, next day or a couple of hours later, the same product shows up in your Facebook feed. That's retargeting, that's browse abandonment. So the more concrete, this is a small audience, but here you really play the piano of being very concrete based on the action what the person did. And this is the advertising part, but I have in the next slide, again, I'm using the same example. In the next slide, it's very busy. There's all kinds of different elements that play a role, and I highlighted specifically email marketing and marketing automation, which is, if you really step back, that's your channel, that you own it. Somebody said, I want to receive your emails. That's your channel, how you communicate. So in the very first moment, it's actually everything else what I said before, be it advertising, be it a print media, be it radio, drives people to a website. And you want to make the website or the blog very interesting, that people at the end sign up for an email. So in this very first phase, you want to win people that sign you up for your email list. Now you have the opportunity to send them information, newsletters, you know, things to do in Napa Valley blogs and these kind of things, to really bring them closer and closer and closer and more familiar with your brand. Remember, it's trust building in this area, which is very important. And then at the tip of funnel, you know, with marketing automation platforms, you can actually send people, here you have the email address, you could send them a cart abandonment email. You know, it happens probably to you when you shop something and you didn't finish, you put it in the cart, and what a surprise, a day later, the email with exactly your cart content shows up and said, hey, there's something in your cart. You have an opportunity to finish. I give you a 5% discount on shipping or whatever it is. That's where email marketing is really powerful. But I really want to leave you all, we are all playing a major role, all the marketing activities across these sales funnel are really key elements. There's not one thing fits for everything. It is a combination of everything. And I'm really looking forward to have the discussion later. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Andreas. That's such great content. And just so everyone knows, I will put all these presentations together and you'll get them in the email that goes out tomorrow. So don't worry about that. Laura. And you are on mute, just so you know. You're still on mute. There you go.
Sorry, I need to get rid of this banner so I can open the slide deck here.
I think if you just click slideshow at the top there, it should go up to the right, left, you're over.
I can't get up there. Oh, shoot. I don't know how to get rid of this banner. Oh, here we go. Gotcha. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. So Napa Valley Life, for those of you who aren't familiar with us, we've been around about 20 years, and we are the #1 destination publication that's everything Napa Valley. We cater to both local audience as well as visitors looking at Napa Valley as a destination. We focus on print, but we also are, we're very content driven. We have a digital component to the business, which is very important as far as our go-to-market strategy. On the print side, we publish about 6 magazines every year, 4 seasonal, so winter, spring, summer, fall, and 2 annual issues in August and the beginning of the year for our Best in Napa Valley. And those are printed in the multi-thousands and distributed locally, as well as sent to our national subscriber base. And then on the digital side, we take all of our content and it ends up on our digital platform. So the magazine itself gets published on our website and is pushed out to our on our local email, weekly email blasts and our social media platforms, as is almost every article, especially the sponsored content. We develop it uniquely on the website with its own URL, and that also goes out in our email and social media platform. So it's a kind of a 1-2 punch. We have a foot in both camps. But today, I've been asked to focus on why print is important. It really is, it should be a component of any good marketing plan, and customers really trust it, especially when making purchasing decisions. It's been around for a long time. It's tried and true. There's a comfort level to it, kind of like that navy blue blazer you've had for many, many years. People, the content that comes from print, people know is coming from a reputable source. It's also really comprehensive. People remember print. It requires less cognitive effort than some of the digital materials that come at you all the time. It's, the internet's pretty noisy. You get a lot of temporary content, videos, stories, it comes and goes. And because print's static, people tend to linger a little longer and connect to the content a little better. To that end, it's also great for brand recognition because people do linger on it longer. It does develop a recognizable your brand can develop a recognizable footprint with a great campaign. Companies spend thousands of dollars putting their logos and font styles and colors and taglines together. And sometimes that gets lost on the digital side. It's also true that most print ads, print content that you see for sponsored content comes in a familiar publication, meaning what you're seeing has been bought into in an aggregate form factor, like Napa Valley Life magazine. If somebody subscribes to the magazine, all of the content within the magazine is applicable to your interest on everything Napa Valley or Town and Country or whatever magazine it is. So because of that, you get a more enhanced experience with the content that you're reading, whether it be editorial or sponsored. There's less competition in the print space. Obviously, there's only so much space within any given publication where you can actually fit add content or sponsored content, unlike the internet where stuff's coming at you from every direction and en masse. Print also bridges a readership gap, which is very important. I think a lot of us think that print's dead, but it's really not. There's a lot of people who really enjoy, especially lifestyle content, picking up a magazine and flipping through it and reading it and actually touching the piece of material, or they like to read a newspaper, a paper newspaper. You also can, fill a gap where everybody is not on the exact digital platform that you may be marketing on. Everybody might not like to get emails or are not reading their emails, or they're not on Instagram or TikTok or wherever you are. So it's a nice ubiquitous solid state platform to be looking at. And lastly, it lasts longer. Print content is around as long as the publication is actually physically available. So, for our publication, we hang around in 3 to 4 months in between issues on an average, and some of our the 2 annual issues actually have really long shelf life, sometimes as long as a year. Unlike digital, which, like I say, comes at you fast, it goes away fast, especially even the temporary content that we see now in stories and reels. So I often get asked, which is better? Should we invest in the print side? Should we invest in the digital side? Well, I've gone through the value of why print's important. Digital is important part of any marketing strategy, though. For us, adding the digital component on gives us the ability to get our content out there in more nimbly, in a real-time way. It gives us a wider reach. It's easy for our clients to measure and for us to measure. And it also gives us the ability to put our print content onto a more flexible medium and a lot of different platforms. So we can go email, social media, or we can get to people on their iPads and phones and PCs. It's also less expensive. Being able to pop up an image and some content quickly, on a social media post or on a MailChimp is a lot easier and less expensive than worrying about print and design criteria. So the answer to the question is both. I think just like any good, diversification strategy on portfolio investing, you really need to have a plan to be looking at both types of mediums, and so you can get the most bang for the buck. So I look forward to talking more about that in our discussion.
Thank you, Laura. That was great. And plays in very nicely to how we're going to talk about how you really need to be doing everything. So, all right, Will, last but certainly not least, and then we'll get into our panel questions.
All right, let me know if you can all see this.
Yep, we can see it.
Perfect. All right, so just a kind of a deeper dive into Wind Down Media. We are a multi-platform media company, as you all know, based in Napa, but specifically we own and operate Napa Valley's only radio stations, but we do a lot more than that. So we also provide services such as voice-assisted artificial intelligence technology. We're working with a really cool vintner who's doing some really cool international projects that we're helping them on, and they need high fidelity audio, podcast studios, audio production, and much more in terms of the audio space. And in addition to that, we also offer advertising placements across our social and digital extensions. But I want to give you a very large overview of what this, complicated media universe is all about. You see there that at the end of the day, it's really all about the consumer, right? As business owners, as marketers, we really have to think about the consumer who's right in the middle. So, and as you see here, each media platform presents its own unique reach. So I definitely think that a healthy, and that's what all my other, the panelists have all talked about before, that diversification, marketing mix is definitely so important in any type of healthy marketing aspect. So as the numbers show here, radio continues to be the largest mass reaching platform to reach and engage consumers, regardless of how you consume audio. So I'm just going to put the question out there. Think about how you consume audio. Is it through AM and FM radio? Is it through podcast? Is it through satellite radio? And just remember that you cannot insert yourself into the customer every time. So just based on your preferences doesn't necessarily mean that it's your consumers' preferences. So now that I kind of gave you this, very complicated and busy universe, let's go a little deeper into the audio space. So radio reaches more adults than any other audio source. Research shows that 87% of Americans 35 plus listen to AM and FM radio on a weekly basis. And in addition to that, it counterparts everyone else, or as I like to say, it's essentially our competitors in the audio space. Now, outside of home, we spend a lot of time at both work or in our cars. So let's go and look at where radio is used while at work. So traditional radio is still the most used audio source for work. I know specifically for us, a lot of businesses in Napa play us because of the varied music, our local connection, and people get to hear voices, that you don't get from streaming services. So the DJ, they either know them, they've been at events with them, and you really feel that they're your invisible friend, is the way that I like to imagine it. And they're also obviously car, and radio continues to be the king of the car. And the way that I like to put it is that car and radio are like Napa Valley and wine, right? They go very, very well together. So just imagine you're leaving Yountville, you're on your way to Bel Air Plaza, you're listening to the radio, specifically 99.3 The Vine or Mega Mix, right? Of course. And you're going into the Target there. You just heard an ad for, a hand wash soap or a specific detergent. Research shows that more likely you are going to buy the specific brand that you just heard. So audio commercials really reach the consumer on the path to purchasing. And then also for events, it does really well. Let's keep Bel Air Plaza as the example. You're going to the Q restaurant, where I know Andreas and his lovely wife love to go because we've run into them so many times there. And you're on your way to meet friends for happy hour, and you hear about the Yountville Art Sip and Stroll event that's coming up on May 21st. So you're, hey, Jessica, are you going to the Yountville Art Sip and Stroll? I just heard it on the radio. Oh no, but if I'll go with you if you want me to, or different things like that. So it definitely really connects all the different brands, events, and so what. So specifically Wind Down Media. I gave you, the very large landscape, but as of January 3rd, 2022, we are very happy that we flipped the KVON station and rebranded it to Mega Mix, making it the first and only Spanish radio station that serves the Napa Valley. And then we have our legacy music and entertainment station, 99.3 The Vine, available on broadcast or through stream. Our app is currently under construction. We also do video and display ads, whether they're on our website or B-roll during our streaming platform, and then social and experiential. Radio does really well when it comes to grand openings, re-grand openings. We've done a few, and we have a few more on the books now that things are opening up, and we're seeing the end of the light at the end of the tunnel. So absolutely. And we also connect, other people's brands and with ours through social. Just a great example right now that I'm actually missing, but it's very well worth it. Live in the Vineyard Goes Country. We did a really fun campaign with Visit Napa Valley through social giveaways. So we really connected all our platforms and had a really good successful campaign that wraps up today at Shandon. So I'm on my way to go have some bubbles shortly after this at 11 o'clock. I hope there's no one judging. And these are just very top line information about the two stations. Listener demographics, they both do tend to go a little more female than male, but very close at the end of the day. We're proud that we have a strong monthly listenership, about 58,000 on terrestrial, which is AM, FM, radio, whether that's in your car, at home, and then our streamings. We have great program hosts that really, people connect to, and like Barry Martin, Robin, Nate Campbell on the FM side, and now on the Spanish side, Gabriela and Nicolas de Luna. So with that, I just say, let's talk about amplifying your brand's voice.
Thank you, Will. That was great. We use you guys for our events, and it's very helpful. So we love having you guys as a partner. Could you stop sharing your screen?
There we go.
Thank you. Perfect. Now I can see everyone's face, or their black box, either way. So now we're going to go ahead and get started and talk a little bit with some questions on different ways that you guys can utilize different marketing aspects. So the first thing I want to start with is, if a business only has $500 to $1,000 to spend each month on their marketing, what, medium do you suggest they use, and how could you use that to work together? Do you have any, advice for starting off on a small budget like that? And Allison, I'll start with you because you're the first person on my screen.
Great. You went out of order on the questions. So I had it all queued up in a different process. So this dovetails to the things I wish you knew about social, but I think from right out of the gate, I'm gonna kick it to Andreas, because I think you should make sure your website is right and tight first, as far as spend goes, and make sure that you are working with a professional to get all of the things that you need check marked. And then from my point of view and my purview, social media, once you have your website right and tight, then having a spend on some of your social platforms if you don't have the budget to hire a professional to manage it. And you can get a lot for within that range of $500 to $1,000. Again, I think from a smaller business point of view, $250 to $500 spent on 2 platforms that you activate would get you a lot of great results. Again, going back to the first part, I think doing some training for yourself, if you're managing social yourself, spending a little money on training so that you understand what you're doing, so that you know where those dollars are going. But Instagram and Facebook, I think, are low-hanging fruit from a social spend to get you some quick results to then take the next steps.
Andreas, do you want to follow up on that?
Yeah, I can completely agree with what Allison said. With $500 per month, you can actually achieve a lot. It's really depending what you need. If you say, what, the season is starting and I really need to get more bookings for my service, or I need to sell off my wine, it really depends on your goals and your situation. So I would say short-term versus long-term. If you have a short-term need, definitely advertising. Social media advertising is a very good way of finding the right target audience. If you remember the sales funnel that I showed you, ideally you have a pixel running on your website. And when you have the pixel, which is a Facebook tracking code running on your website, or you have Google Analytics tracking website visitors, you can create retargeting audiences. And retargeting audiences are warm audiences. If you advertise to someone who's already familiar with your brand, the likelihood that they're going to purchase something or book something is really high. So it's a combination. Short-term needs, definitely advertising. Prepare it by having the right tracking codes running, that you can create audiences that are already familiar with your brand. If it's a little bit more long-term and you already have a good audience that you have, maybe email marketing is a way, investing into email marketing to really double down on your followers that you already have. If you really think about it, it's your channel, you own the channel. People have already said, I'm interested to receive offers, information from you. That could be another very interesting way to drive. And the landing spot is a website. That's where you convert people. Bring the people to your website, to the right landing page, and with good conversions that can really work well wherever they're coming from. So, but $500, nice starting point.
And I think also it's important to look at it from a whole. So if it's 6,000 to 12,000 and look at your whole year, and, you know, it's like, okay, I think print would be really good, you know, to do one spend of this $500 in August leading up to the holidays. Or it's about looking at it holistically as opposed to, okay, I just have $500 this month, because again, from a social point of view and a social media marketing point of view, you can pivot really quickly and spend money here, and then here you don't have to commit to something for a whole, you know, 6 months or 12 months either. You can divide it up.
Go ahead, Will. I see you unmuted yourself.
No, I just think that, yeah, you know, along that same note, radio can definitely cast a really wide net, with a small investment, especially, you know, we offer packages that are aimed at local businesses. So it's definitely, you know, pricing tailored around that to catch that wide net, and definitely, you know, drive increased traffic, website traffic, as well as, you know, getting new followers on social media channels. A lot of our long-term clients always kind of tag, like ACOs and the Napa Farmers Market, tag their social media channels and have seen a good growth from just that repetition of on commercials.
Laura, do you have something to add on the print side for small budgets?
I would just say, you know, just echo to make sure you're looking at a diversification strategy across all of the mediums, because they all, you know, do well to supplement each other. One thing that I think is important to always be thinking about is making sure you know who your customers are, because getting that low-hanging fruit on the front end, whether it be, you know, where you're going to put your print, where you're going to focus your message, is really important. So putting a little bit of investment in, if you don't already have it, a good CRM or, you know, spreadsheet process to be able to figure out, you know, who you're trying to get to, why, and what you want to get out of it is really important.
So we'll go back to the first question that I skipped over, Allison, since you did everything in order. So what are, excuse me, what is something about your media marketing that you wish everyone knew? Something that as a professional within this space, you feel like is second nature, but then you talk to people and you realize that people don't really know that. So Laura, I will go ahead and start with you since I started with Allison last time. We'll go backwards.
Well, I'll just say that print is not dead. We hear that all the time. And, you know, print is a very tried and true marketing medium that has been around for a really long time. Certainly it's not as sexy and glamorous as some of the, you know, exciting things you can get on digital and radio. But today still, if you look at stats like direct mail, pieces of marketing collateral that you can touch actually has the highest open rate than any digital medium. So I just, you know, I'm here to say print is not dead. It's definitely should be a big component of a long-term strategy.
Well,
kind of to echo Laura's point, you know, the misconception about audio and radio specifically, people say like, oh, my kids don't know about radio. It's like, okay, are you targeting, you know, kids specifically for your brand though, or your product? You know, do they have the purchasing power yet? Now, radio's long-term strategy for those Gen Zs, that's a whole different topic and a whole different panel. But absolutely, you know, just Laura's point, you know, times two.
Andreas.
Yeah, I can only agree with what's said, being in front of the right audience. But I think the most undervalued point from a conversion perspective is actually your landing page. You know, you spend all the money, all the work of bringing people to that landing page. And the worst thing that can be the point is people now need to search again. What should I do next? You have about 5 seconds. When someone clicks the links or goes to your page, arrives there, the first question you ask yourself, am I in the right place? So let's assume you saw the ad talking about something specific. Now I land on the home page. That might not have anything to do with the ad. Now I have to search again. I'm going to be gone. So am I in the right place? The second question, that is it interesting what I see? Do I want to learn more? Do I want to go deeper? And the third question is, what's next? So make it the call to action button. Put some trust builders on that landing page. For example, reviews, customer statements that are building trust so that the person who comes there stays there, goes deeper, and eventually converts. A good landing page is in the 5 to 10% conversions of people landing there. The average today is 2%. Just think about it. You spend $500 to get 100 website visitors or landing page visitors. 2% means 2. 10% means 10 leads. 5 times more by taking the time looking at the landing page. So I think that's the most undervalued asset if you do any lead generation.
Good points. Allison?
I'm unfurling my whole list of what people should know about social media. I have a couple, but one of the biggest things is trusting the process. There's a lot of misconstrued expectations about what social media is and does, and it's not your own personal social media. It's not treated the same way. And it's really obvious if you cheap out on social media and you have some, person in a different department kind of throwing up some of your social. If you don't have a strategy, you're wasting your time. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to hire somebody, but it is a thought process that is involved, and it takes time. Social is not instantaneous like people think. And here's the reality. Just going to tell, you're not going to go viral. Full stop. It is a misconstrued idea that virality is where you want to be and go, and really trusting the process of what it is. And if you are just wanting to activate social or hire somebody for 2 or 3 months, you're going to be disappointed. So this is a long game. I've been working with Yountville again for 4 to 5 years at this point, and taking out the pandemic portion of it, we have activated our platforms to see a sweet spot of consumer trust and understanding of what we're presenting to them. And that took years to develop and show up. I have a wine brand that I've been working with for 4 years, and we really started to hit really good conversions after 2 or 3. That's not to say they were missing out on anything that we were activating in the first couple of years, but we had different ideas around that, and they were trusting the process. And so it's really about managing your expectations about what social can and should do. And going into social will not be your solution. You should, like we've all been saying, a diversification of your product and what you're doing, because social at the end of the day can't carry the weight if you have nothing else. The end. I could get very ranty about that.
I feel like we've all kind of answered the next question, which are, what are 3 things a business should think about before starting any marketing campaign? Allison, I feel like you just answered that, but
I have more.
Oh, of course you do.
I have one more. I have one more.
Yeah,
I have one more thing that I would just recommend. I do think that, although, Allison deferred to the fact that you could probably leverage people on site. If you don't have expertise on site, don't be afraid. Hire experts.
Yes.
It's important to be able to, let go of that checkbook, and, the guy that's doing your wine sales club's not necessarily going to be the person who's, knows how to do a social media campaign or, design a print ad. So I think it's real important to make sure that you optimize the resources you have, but you're also investing in where your gaps are.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point. Will, do you have anything to add to that?
I would just absolutely, agree to everything that everyone has said, and just, I think you have to look at the whole picture. I'm just kind of repeating myself, but definitely, and just kind of see how you can make everything work with different pieces.
And Whitney, you're on mute, by the way, in case that matters.
I was just going to say, Will was basically saying how all of it comes together holistically and thinking about it that way.
And from a 3 things to think about, I mean, this is for social, but also I think it's applicable to all of what we're doing, is before you go into any endeavor to feel good about what you're doing, I think you really need to think about what you want to say. And if you can go into that with a clear idea, maybe it's not honed for the platform, whether it's print or radio or your website, but going in on social, it's about going in and think, I mean, you have the institutional knowledge, you are the expert coming to us as experts on our platforms, but then we're able to synthesize what you want to say. We're not your marketing department. And that's, I think, such a crucial aspect, is to pre-think about what you want to say. And then we can take it from there. But it's a really frustrating endeavor for everyone when you're like, well, I mean, I have this restaurant or hotel or whatever, and I don't really know what I want to say about it. And then that dives into your expectations around that. And then from a social point of view, something to be prepared for when you're activating is really looking at your images and your image library. And do you have that or not? And that's probably a first starting point before you, again, pay someone or show up consistently for effective social.
Andreas.
Yeah, and I think one point, when you start and think about a campaign, is really to think about your target audience. I mean, the better you understand your target audience, the more you also understand what is my best channel to the target audience. And this is, again, where we all play a role. It could be radio, it could be print, it could be search, it could be so many different things, social. But the better the target audience is understood, the more clear the messaging will be. There's a big difference if I want to attract people that are more in my generation than the young folks. They might be same interest, but completely different channels. So understand who the target audience is. That will get you very good click-through rates. That will give you very good cost per click. And then you get to the landing page. Again, the target audience might engage with a different landing page, but it has to fit. That will drive conversions.
And that target audience, I think that's something that's really overwhelming to people at times, because it's like, what does that mean? And working again with professionals that can help you identify that, and then being really clear with yourself and honest with yourself about who your target audience is versus the target audience that you want. So it's like, who's there and who do you want to be there, and kind of making that work, because you do want to talk to the people that are showing up and that do convert, whether it's the ones you necessarily want or not, and it's building upon that.
So we want to be respectful of everyone's time. So I'm going to throw one more question out there and then we'll take questions. Our webinars this season are going long. I guess we're going to have to do an hour and a half moving forward. But I'd love to talk about some collaborations that you guys have been a part of. Will, I know you have one that we talked about with Mentis of, when you collaborate between different marketing mediums and how that successful that can be. So Will, I'll let you start that off.
Yes, so I'm not the lead on the Mentis account. My wife is, as she's also a board member, but yes, I think it was a great meeting of the minds that the Mentis organization had. They pulled in Andreas and Georgia's expertise on digital, on donating, and I'll let Andreas talk about that part. And then from the audio aspect, we did interviews with mental health experts during Mental Health Awareness Month. That's starting on Sunday. We also ran ads. We ran a healthy rotation between ads that were pushing people directly to donate, and then just public service announcements essentially about the importance of mental health in conjunction with our digital friends that Andreas can talk about what they did specifically on that.
Yeah, maybe to add, and Will, I'm in the same boat. We're talking about our wives doing some really great cooperation and helping a very important organization in Napa Valley. So fundamentally, what was very important is, and this is what we did, and again, Georgia, my wife, was the main driver. She is involved in the marketing committee, what Mentis is doing, and creating a great website, dual language, creating the messaging, creating a database where people can easily find support organization. Mentors is actually working with a lot of organizations in Napa Valley, and they have a resource database that was being built. You know, the core messaging when the fundraising events are there, making sure that the website has a really easy and good donation function. These kinds of let's say concrete work that we did was created in this marketing committee in a very close cooperation with many you know, different people helping mentors. And I think this is a really good example where we can all bring our expertise and in a sum create something really very unique.
Excellent. Laura, I know that you guys featured Lindsay from Visit Napa Valley in Napa Valley Life at 2 magazines ago, I think. You know, they are the marketing organization for Napa that focuses mostly on digital. So, you know, do you want to talk a little bit about how that collaboration came about and, you know, the importance of print for Visit, even for someone like Visit Napa Valley?
Yeah, that was actually one of the collaborations on my list. So yeah, we got into a campaign with Lindsay and the Visit Napa Valley team. Actually, that was the last October that she was on the cover. And it was really to promote and launch the Good Life campaign that they're, you know, promoting through the Visit Napa Valley. And so we collaborated on a content schema for the, you know, 6 issues that we do annually. And we work closely with them depending on whatever the, you know, their strategy is with the messaging and what our issue theme is. So for example, our philanthropy issue that we have coming out here soon, we work with Visit Napa Valley to have them contribute and nominate individuals that they would have in that particular section. So for every theme that we have, we involve Visit Napa Valley to develop another story on what's the good life is in Napa Valley. And we do similar things with other companies like Napa Valley Vintners, for example, with restaurants and wines they carry, and Merrill Lynch and some realtors, where we invest in a kind of a long-term collaborative campaign to help drive either a particular program they have, or a brand message, or, you know, whatever it is that they want to have over time. So they're long haul partnerships.
Yeah, long haul partnerships. Allison, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Always. Yeah. So, I mean, the heart of social media is collaboration, because it's all part of the whole ecosystem that you want to activate. And really social strength lives in the fact that it's pulling from other collaborations. Really the ones that stand out the most in my mind are the ones that we've done with you all, you know, as far as after the fires or during the pandemic, we were working with Visit Napa Valley and the PR teams to convey the messages that, you know, Napa Valley was still standing, we're still open, this is what's happening, and taking those bigger marketing messages that were distilled in print and radio and all of that, and then putting it on social and matching that voice, so that again, whichever touch point that people were coming into Yountville or understanding that, they were seeing the same messaging. And social was such a driver. And also, you know, seeing how people were reacting, so that we could make quick pivots, especially within Yountville ourselves, like, oh, this is really doing well and this is performing well, we should do more of that, and sharing that on a bigger scope. And we do that with all of our events too. I mean, we have a full schedule of events that we're promoting on social that also have arms into radio and print, and obviously website too. And so those collaborations are almost in everything that we do. With all of my clients, you know, we're working synchronistically with the PR team and the marketing team and the sales team, depending on, you know, what they're trying to leverage. So yeah.
Perfect. Well, any last thoughts from the panelists before we jump off, or any questions from, I know there were some questions in the chat, and Allison, you did a great job of answering those. I will get the presentations from everyone and put that together, as well as the recording of this that will get sent out tomorrow. And of course, if you ever need anything, feel free to reach out.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Thank you,
Bye.
panelists.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, everyone.